Hey there, and welcome to the Totally First Crochet channel. My name is Thomas, and since it is still a hot crochet summer, I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to make the ultimate summer crochet mesh tote bag. Now you might wonder, why is this the ultimate crochet mesh tote bag? I'm going to tell you. First up, I created it in a way that you can crochet this fabulous tote bag in one go, from the bottom to the top, to the strap, and to wear it immediately over your shoulder. In addition, you will find a PDF in the description where I designed 10 different designs for your crochet mesh tote bag, so you can have your own motif that you like best on your bag, on the front and in the back. There are lots of cute designs, and in addition there's also a blank grid on the last page where you can get creative and make your own custom-made design for this fabulous tote bag. It's super easy to make, super fun to make, it goes super fast, and you will have such a super awesome bag all summer and for all year. No more plastic bags, full sustainability. You can reuse it as many times as you like for shopping, for going to the beach. It's the perfect summer bag. So let's get ready. Download the PDF in the description so you have the pattern right next to you. And this is the bag we are going to make in this video, the aquarium with the cute little fishes. And as always, before we start, take a sec, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Let's get to it. First things first, let's talk about the things you need to make your mesh crochet bag. First up, the yarn. I came across this super cool yarn from Hobby called Frutta. It was available just, I don't know, a few days before it sold out completely, and I completely fell in love with those colors. I mean, they had a few colors or color combinations basically. Here's another one where I already did the bag with, and it's just so gorgeous, and the same goes for this. So the colors remind me a lot about the ocean and the sea. So it's quite perfect for this project and for a summer mesh crochet tote bag in general. It's 100% cotton, of course. And the only thing that was a bit weird is that they said that we would need a 5mm crochet hook. Personally, I think that would be a bit too big, so I made a little swatch, and since the yarn itself isn't that thick or that chunky, I again went back to my favorite hook size, a 4mm, so I'm going to make the entire project with a 4mm hook. For the full bag, you basically need 2 balls of cotton yarn. I mean, if you want to know how many, those are 229 yards or 210 meters, so 100 gram. So just in case, since you probably won't be able to get the fabulous Frutta yarn, you can then get something similar. I know there's a few of them out there that you can definitely use for this project, and then recalculate how many yarn skeins you would need. The hook we had already. For the very, very end, I'm very proud to say that this really is a non-stop project from the start to the finish, and the only time you need the yarn needle is for the very end, and same goes for the scissors. Probably when we then change the yarn ball, there will be 2 yarn ends to sew in, or maybe we can incorporate it on the go, but everything else is pretty much all in one piece, which is just the perfect little summer project. Before I tell you how to start, because what you definitely would also want to take is the PDF that you can download in the description below. And for this project, I created 10 different designs or pattern for you to use on your bag. The front and the back are always the same. So I, of course, had the dog paw, then some hearts, a flower. Here's a little bunny, maybe next year for Easter, or if you love bunnies, then you can, of course, always use them. Something more abstract with frames. Then some bubbles that go all around, a bit more fashion, I would say. Then I have the waves. They basically first were the inspiration of what to do with this ocean-like or sea-like yarn. Then I have a pattern that's called the aquarium with lots of fish swimming through the aquarium, and the bag would then be the aquarium, and it's like a seamless pattern, so the fish here on top goes all around the bag. Then I have a little duck just to do something more funny. A little teddy bear, a very cute one. I think it's super cute. And then for the last page of the PDF, there's an empty grid, so you can basically be creative and do whatever you want in terms of pattern, because that's the great thing also about this mesh crochet bag, that you can do all kinds of patterns, symbols, icons, whatever you want. Look at it as a playfield, as a matrix where you can just do whatever you want, and you always have the front and the back in the same, unless you decide to make different designs on both sides. But I think these bags look quite pretty when they have like two sides the same. For this tutorial, I'm going to do the aquarium. Don't worry that up here it says fishnet. First I wanted to name it a fishnet crochet tote bag, but after doing some research, mesh is more familiar in general with people, and it really is mesh. It looks like those mesh tops that women love to wear in summer, so I then in the end went with the mesh name. So this will be my pattern, and I will explain to you on the go how to read this pattern. As you can see, you have 25 times 25. So each square here stands for basically one segment of our bag. But I'll come to this in a little bit. For those of you who want to know how big the bag will be in the end, I'm just going to measure it quickly for you so you know how big it will be. So here's one. It is about 38 to 39 centimeters wide, which is about 15 inches in total. And since our bag or our tote bag is a full square from the bottom up to right here, so this is the same basically, and then I just add a little round of treble crochets on top to finish it off. And then of course the handle, if you want to know how wide the handle is, but you're completely free to make it wider. It's 3.5 centimeters. It's about 1.5 inches width. And the length, of course, is completely up to you, depending on how tall or small you are. So feel free to adapt it to your size, how you want it. this tutorial or this mesh is mainly work with treble crochets, which is also something a bit different. I chose the treble crochets because I thought it's, because no, I didn't thought so, I think so. I think that with the treble crochet you get more height and bigger mesh squares, basically. Of course, this would mean that smaller elements would fall out of the bag, but I'm completely aware of that. If you want to have a smaller bag, you can always replace the treble crochet by a double crochet and the chain 2 space in between the double crochets. Then you just make one, so you get like a smaller square grid in total, and like that the bag overall will be smaller, but that's completely up to you. So let me explain a little bit how to read the pattern. As I mentioned, we have 25, and what I mean by that is that this is always one side of the bag, so the other side is also 25 segments here, or squares. Each square represents basically a treble crochet and a chain 2, unless it's one of those gray ones. Those mean that you would have 3 treble crochets after each other to fill like one square. Here you can see it. This one here is a filled gray square, and the one below is like a white one. And like that, by using the pattern, you can always then see where you are. You can also cross it out on the go. So if you want to print it out or have it on your phone, you can always cross it out to see where you are. But with this kind of a bigger mesh, it's easy to count. And since this is just 25 rounds, basically, it goes very fast. And since each of those squares stands for 3 stitches, you already know how long the beginning would be. It's 25 times 3, so 75. So the way how we start, and now we are really starting. I'm going to leave this just here on the side, just in case I need to show you this. And maybe one more thing. Since I'm left-handed, of course I start in the left corner and then go to the right. Later on I'm going to, of course, mirror the video so I can upload the right-handed version as well. So you would probably start here on the other side. But again, it works exactly the same way. It doesn't matter if you start from the left or from the right. You can also start with number 1 with the left and then just do it reverse. It's completely up to you. If in any case you would need like a pattern that starts here on the right with the 1, just send me a message or a comment, and I'm very glad to make another PDF with a reverse order of numbers. It's always a bit difficult with left hand and right hand. Okay, so here we go. As I mentioned, we are going to start with a round of 75 stitches, and we are actually starting with a foundation round. Very similar project in the way how we started, like the crochet foam bag that I did recently. And for that, you take a longer part of yarn and leave like quite a bit of yarn to the side, basically, because we are going to incorporate it. And to start our foundation round, we are going to make a slip knot. First, we take the yarn that goes to our yarn tail, the yarn end, and you yarn over from the front, and then you take the yarn that goes to the yarn ball or the skein of yarn, and you yarn over from the back. You hold everything here. You can hold it here at the slip knot a little bit with your fingernail, and then pull the yarn through the 2 loops on the hook, and then again yarn over from the front with the yarn tail, and then yarn over from the back with the yarn going to your yarn ball, and you have 2. Yarn over in front, yarn over from the back, and pull it through. Yarn over from the front, yarn over from the back, pull through, yarn over from the front, and yarn over from the back. I know it's a bit fiddly in the beginning, but it creates this very beautiful foundation round. Here now I already made 5, so in total I would need 75 of those foundation stitches. So I'll meet you once we have the 75. Here we go. The base of our bag, a pretty foundation round. And what I always love about the foundation round is that you get like super beautiful stitches to work in, and you already have like a much more stable foundation basically than you would have by making a chain. So whenever I do bags or something like this, I usually start with the foundation round because then I can easily go from there. And we are good to go with our first round basically. And as you can see in almost, I think in all of the patterns that I provided in the PDF, the first round is always a blank round. So you get into the whole project a bit smoothly before then making those gray spots here as well. And it's quite simple actually to start. So this in the end will be the bottom of our bag. So we are now just going to start with our first round of mesh. And we do this by chaining 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So basically this is like already a part of the first mesh element that we are going to do. And now we are making treble crochets in every third stitch that we have from our foundation round. So this one here was the last one, the 75th one, 74, 73. So we are going in this stitch right here. And to do a treble crochet, you yarn over twice, basically. Then let's see, 75, 74, 73, 72. We go in that stitch. That's what I meant. You can see it beautifully, the stitch. Then you yarn over, pull the yarn through. You now have 4 loops on your hook. You yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and you made your first treble crochet. Now we chain 2. So between those regular mesh treble crochets, we always have a chain 2, and then we skip 2 stitches of our foundation round and go directly into the third. So we yarn over twice, 1, 2, and here's the third one. We go in there, yarn over and pull the yarn through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And like this, you get like this, what I think, very squarish mesh element here. And I think it just looks perfect. If you would then go for the version with the regular double crochets and just a chain 1 in between, it will also look completely squarish, but just of course smaller. Then again we chain 2 and yarn over twice, skip 2 stitches, and then go in the third one and yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this you do until you reach the very last one. If you counted everything right, the last stitch would then also be a treble crochet, but I'll meet you there to see if I even counted right. So guess who made a mistake when it comes to counting? Me, of course, but to be honest, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, this is no biggie, because this is like the end of our bag, either way, or of one side of the bag, and later on it won't show as long as we continue with those chain 2 in between. So I have my second to last, and I'm going to place it by skipping the 2 stitches that come next in the foundation round, just like this. Of course, if you miscounted anything, you can always open it, but to be honest, later on no one will see it at all, so I won't bother about it. And then we have one last treble crochet that we now have to place in that very last stitch here. This is probably the hardest to get. We can also go in there from the top instead from the side. Sometimes that's easier. I'm just trying to, yes. Here we go. And pulling it through the 4 loops on the hook. And we are through. And now you should have 25 of those mesh elements. Let me just count just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least that was right. But as I mentioned before, it won't be that tricky, since this is like the corner element already. And now we can continue on the go. So we chain 2. So now we are basically switching to the other half of the bag, and we do our next in that same stitch where we placed this last treble crochet here as well. And again, when you turn it, you get like a pretty stitch to work in, and you can then make the next treble crochet right in there and have like the corner on one side of the bag already finished. And then we chain 2 again, make the next treble crochet in that next stitch where we also had the treble crochet in the previous previous way, this one here. So then you get like crosses all the way through, and always chain 2 in between your treble crochets, and then do the next one. So in the end, your round will have 50 of those mesh elements, and it's the front and the back of your bag, or the front and the back of your bag already. So we always work on both sides at the same time. Now, this wasn't correct. Always yarn over twice if you make a triple crochet. And I meet you once you reach the end, and then I tell you how to connect with the start to then start with round number 2. So I just made the last one of my treble crochets, and now the only thing we have to do is to basically close the first round. And here's also where I see where I miscalculated. Here I have 3 foundation stitches. I should have do the first treble crochet one earlier. So later on when I watch what I recorded, I probably said go back 3, but then I would definitely say go back 2. But again, it's not a big issue. So now to close the round, we are going to chain 2. And then this part here serves as our outer treble crochet, just like the one that we had on the other side, basically. So we are going to go in there so that we have a chain of 2 left. So here's 1 and 2 before there was the first treble crochet, and we are just going to slip stitch in that 3rd stitch, basically, just like this. Here's the yarn end to close the round and to create our next corner. Maybe I show it again. I think it was a bit messy how I explained it. So you chain the 2, and then if you take a look at your treble crochets, and we always have these chain 2 spaces in between, we just look at the chain 2 that comes right next to the treble crochet, and then we are going to slip stitch in the 3rd one. So we leave the chain 2 as is and slip stitch in the 3rd to close the round. Got it? And just like this, you have the base of your bag already complete. So round number 1, you can tick it out. You just made it, and we can then continue with round number 2. And here it's going to be interesting because we have then, in my case, 2 blank squares or mesh elements, then 1 filled mesh element, and then a few blank ones and 5 filled ones before then going on the other side. So with this next round, I can show you exactly how to make the 2 different kinds of mesh squares that we need, and then from there on you can basically go on yourself, follow along the pattern. But let's start with how to start the next round. So for the next round, we start basically like we did before. We chain 5. Again, just like we did here, and then we make our next treble crochet in the previous. Now what you can do is, of course, to go in that front stitch. I'll show you how that would look like. It looks okay, but once you have something in there in your bag, like a book or your phone or whatever, it stretches out, and personally I don't like these holes that it creates. So for that reason, I am going to when I now make my treble crochets, I'm also going to take one of the yarn strands from in here as well. So just to get a bit more stability, and then the stitch itself will stay more in place. So instead of like going only through the top stitch, I'm going to incorporate this one here as well. So I'm going in here right in the middle. Usually I put some pressure here and my other fingertip right there until basically my hook goes through. And like that, I usually know that I have more than just the top stitch to work in. And as you can see, the hole is much smaller and it's much more tighter, I would say. But it looks completely fine to me. We are now in here in row number 2. So there's one regular one. So we chain 2, then yarn over twice, and then again I'm going a little bit below and hold my finger down, push the hook, and then I go basically through or under 3 strands of yarn just to hold everything. And I can then finish my treble crochet. Now we come to the interesting part, because this is very important to know how to make those full ones, or how at least I do them. So I yarn over, no chain 2 for those one, and then I'm going through the back loop of this first chain element like this and make my next treble crochet. Again, there are multiple ways to do that. I think it's prettier to have like a full frame or border that goes around. Of course, you could also go just in that space, but then the stitches would move in the end. And since this is already like a mesh bag, is not the kind of bag where you put like heavy things in there, but if you then still have something like a water bottle or something like this, the more stability you have, the better, because otherwise your mesh bag would look not meshy, but messy. So my personal experience is that when working those stitches in the back loops, and it still holds it a little bit better than going through the mesh hole here. But of course, feel free. I don't always have like the right solution, or there are multiple ways. So feel free to see it for yourself what might works best for you and your mesh bag. So the 2 treble crochets are in there now, and we can continue with our regular open one. So whenever you have your mesh, you can already see where you are, and you always note that there are 2 stitches in between those treble crochets. And just like this, we created this one full one here. Now there's a couple of regular ones. I'm going to fast forward until we reach the next full ones here, and then it's exactly the same from the other side. So I start then in the front and then make the exact same pattern on the back side, so I get 2 fishes in one round. So here we go. I made it to that part here. So we basically have 5 full mesh segments waiting for us. So 5 times 3 means 15 treble crochets all after each other. So you yarn over twice. We go in the back loop of our chain and make our next treble and yarn over twice and get in that back loop, make the next treble crochet, and then we have another frame element basically. So we are going in here, hold it with your finger to go through 3 loops at once, and make the next one. There we go. This is how the 5 full mesh segments then look like. And then we have 2 more left, and those are regular ones. So we chain 2 and then go into the next treble crochet, chain 2, and into the next, which is basically the border of our bag. And then we basically go to the other side. And as I mentioned before, now the pattern, in my case, starts the exact same way. So I have 3 empty ones or regular mesh ones and then a full one. So I just continue. I have 2 more regular mesh segments to do. Before making 1 full segment, and then again I only go in those back loops. Like this, and then I go all along to the end of the round, and this is where I meet you. So I'm at the end of round 2, and I'm just going to chain 2, and then I'm going into the 3rd stitch here from our chain 5, and I'm just going to slip stitch through it. And round number 2 is done already. Personally, I think it goes so fast, and very easily you see like your bag come to life. And here you have like the first 2 rounds. It looks so pretty, and the yarn is just a dream, and it's so soft. It's like butter, so I can make all those full mesh elements easily, and I leave you to it. I'm probably going to bump in somewhere here or there so I can show you a bit more of the progress, and I'll see you then. Have fun. follow the pattern, whichever one you chose from the 10 that I made you, or maybe you do your own one directly. And I'll meet you somewhere in between. Bye. So welcome back to this tutorial, and here's a little shoulder view on where I am a few hours later. And right now I'm at round number 14. Basically, I completed round number 14. So I'm already more than halfway through. And as you can see with the mesh pattern, you can work those, or you can crochet those mesh tote bags basically in no time. And the best thing is you already do the front and the back of the bag almost in one go. And now I'm going to place a mat in there to show you how the pattern looks like, because basically you only see the pattern or the visuals that I use when you have later on something in the bag. And here you can see the fish. And it looks even better than I thought. I mean, sometimes when you see it like this, you're like, all right, this could be fine. But then you see it, how it looks like in the end. It's just so beautiful. And those colors, I mean, I'm over the moon with them. So this is just to show you how this beautiful bag looks like as a little shoulder view. Of course, the back side looks equally pretty. I mean, you don't see it with the gray. Let's just put in the white. Here's the fishes. It's such a pretty pattern. And I'm going to continue. And once I'm done with round number 25, I will meet you back to finish the top part of our tote bag and add a border basically, and of course adding the shoulder strap. So see you then. So here we go. This was round number 25 of my aquarium pattern. I just put in a blanket to show you how the pattern looks like. And it's just so gorgeous with all the little fishies visible in there. And of course, you get the pattern on both sides. So pretty also with the blue. And now it's time to make a little border on top and then in one go attach the handle to it as well. And this is what we are going to do next. So we stopped round 25 right here with the slip stitch through our last treble crochet here on top. And now what we are going to do is to make the border. And for the border, we are making treble crochets all around. And the only difference is that the 2 treble crochets from in between those 2 spaces here are going to be crocheted together, just to give it a bit more flexibility and strength, and holds everything better together as a border, because later on when you attach the handle, you don't want to have it stretched out too much. So this is the difference. And what we are going to do now is to make a fake treble crochet actually. And this is how we do that. So you have the slip stitch in that final treble crochet. We are going to open it again and take the loop from the chain 2, and we are going in that third stitch again, but keeping the 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull the yarn through. So we basically made a single crochet. Then we are going to grab that front bar as if we would do a fake double crochet. You yarn over, pull the yarn through, 2 loops on the hook, then you yarn over and just pull through one of the 2 loops, just like this. You still now have 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over and pull through both of the loops. And this now stands for our fake treble crochet. So it's just one step more than the fake double crochet. I'm actually not sure if a fake treble crochet really exists, to be honest. But for this, I get an additional height up here. So now we are going to start the next 2 treble crochets, and we are going to crochet them together. And this is how we do it. You yarn over twice as if you would do the regular treble crochet. You go into that first chain element here, yarn over, pull the yarn through. You now have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. You now have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. And instead of closing the treble crochet, we are going to yarn over twice again, go in the next chain element here, yarn over. You now have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And when you have 3 loops on your hook, we are going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. And this is how you can crochet treble crochets together. And the next one is a regular treble crochet. So again, we go in that previous treble crochet, not only through the 2 top loops, but also the third one that comes right in the back here. And yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And this is our first cluster element. Now we have the next 2 treble crochets together. So you yarn over twice, you go in the first chain element, yarn over and pull through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now we stop, yarn over twice, go in the next chain element, yarn over and pull through, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, 3 loops on the hook, and now we can crochet them all together. And next up is a regular treble crochet. You should be familiar with the treble crochets by now. When you reach this point, you've made quite a few of them. And I'm going to show you the next basically decrease of treble crochets. So you yarn over twice, you go in that first chain element, yarn over, pull through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we stop, yarn over twice, go in the second chain element, yarn over, pull through 2, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 3, and we can finish it off by yarning over and pulling through all 3 of the loops. And like that, you can see it holds everything a bit more together to give like this very beautiful and easy border for our bag. And I'll meet you once I'm at the end to show you how to continue with the handle. See you then. So I reached the end of the border, and all I have to do now is to make a slip stitch right into that top of our fake treble crochet to finish the border. And here you can see how it looks like. It gives like a very nice effect on top. It looks a bit different than all the other full treble crochets, but I think it's just the perfect border for it. And you have a bit more flexibility and it holds everything together. And now is already the time to start with the handle. What we are going to do is to start directly without stopping, and we go 8 stitches along, and then this would be the width of our handle basically, and or our strap, and then we go back and forth until you reach the length of your strap. Don't make it too long because it might get a bit more stretchy. And to start off, we actually start the same way like we started here with our border round. We are just going to open up that last slip stitch, and we go back in there into the top, and again we take one yarn strand from the back with us, just to hold everything better. And we start with a fake treble crochet. So first you make a single crochet, then you go into that front bar here, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over again, pull through one, pull everything up a little bit, yarn over and pull through two to have your first fake treble crochet. Then we are going to make 7 more treble crochets in the following stitches. So this now will be the base of our strap. Of course, you can make your strap smaller, wider. It's completely up to you. Since I'm a bigger guy, I always love a bit of a wider strap. So feel free to adapt it to your needs. And now, without chaining, we are turning the work just like this, and then we go back into that last stitch right here and start again with a fake treble crochet. So we first make the single crochet, then we go into that front bar, yarn over, pull through, and again yarn over, pull through one, and yarn over, pull through two to have a fake treble crochet. And the rest is the same as we did before. We make treble crochets all along. And as with the fake double crochets, your last stitch is sitting a bit lower than all the others. So don't miss that. You can always count that you have 8. So you go in and grab that last stitch right here and make the last treble crochet on top of it. And then we turn again and do exactly as we did before. We go into that first stitch to start our fake treble crochet, pull the yarn through, have a single crochet, then go in the front bar, grab the yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over again, pull the yarn just through one of the loops, yarn over and pull through 2 to have your next fake treble crochet, and then treble crochets all along And that last one, don't miss it. It's also a bit more to the side. And here we go. And you create this same meshy style strap for your mesh crochet tote bag. And we can turn and continue with the next round. And I'll leave you to it until you have the length for your strap. And then I'm going to show you how to finish it up, sewing the strap to the other side of the bag, and then take care of the 2 yarn ends, only 2 yarn ends in the whole project. So the minimum of sewing yarn in the end. And then your summer mesh crochet tote bag is finished and ready to be used all summer long. And I'll meet you when we're almost there. Bye. So welcome back. I just finished my last round of the strap, and I think in total it was 52 rounds, basically. So it really depends on what size of bag you make or how tall you are. So really make it so that it fits you well. Keep it a bit shorter than you would have it normally, because as you can see, it still stretches out a little bit when you wear it. But once you feel like you reach the height or the length of your strap, you can go ahead and cut it. I already cut it, and now I'm just going to yarn over again and pull the yarn completely through to close everything up. And now we can attach the strap to the other side of the bag. Here I had it like this here on the side, and now we are going to go all the way to the other side and add it there. And since we made this in one go from the beginning to the end, I placed the strap from the border side 8 stitches inwards of my work. So what I'm going to do when I attach the end part of the strap, I'm going to actually go 8 stitches from that border to the inside of the bag and connect those two so that in the end it would work. Make sure that your strap isn't twisted, so you can see it's basically like this, all straight from this side here to the other side. And now we can connect it. To do that, of course, you would need the yarn needle. So grab your end yarn, put it on the needle. And now what I'm going to do is to find my border treble crochet, so I can then go 8 stitches to the other side from it. And for that, it might help to use your pattern again. So when you have a pattern with some symbols or icons or whatever, it's quite easy then to find the right stitch. I mean, here I have the head of the fish, which is right here. I hope you can see it. And here's the eye, which is here. And then we have this one cluster here, and here's the next cluster. So this right here is my border stitch. This one here. So we can then go along 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So basically this is my 8th stitch. So I can then just go in there and get my strap, and here's how I connect them in a very easy, very simple way. I always go from the bottom into the first stitch, and then from the top in the stitch of my bag. And then we can do this all along until there are no more stitches to sew in. One more to go. And here we go. And what I can do now is to pull everything in until you feel like it's blocking somewhere. And just like that, you have your strap connected to your work. Just like this. And now what I'm going to do is to go once more through some of those stitches just to secure it tightly. I mean, depending on what you are going to carry with your bag, it definitely makes sense to sew everything in the best way possible so that your handle won't flap. And again, make sure that you go also through the yarn. This always helps to hold the things a bit better together. Now I'm just going to go once more through some of the stitches. And then things sit. And I think that should be it. I'm making one final, and here I'm also going to make a knot in there. And then I'm just going to hide my yarn in there as a bit more. It doesn't have to be all the way for this last one. This is mainly for cutting the yarn, and like this, it's okay, you can cut it, and your strap is attached to your work. You can still always move it around a little bit, but I think this should be it. So now you have both ends of your strap connected with your bag, and the only thing left is basically the yarn end from the beginning, from our foundation round. And normally you could just cut it. It would be alright. But for this, I'm just going to sew that in. And once you have it, just cut the yarn off. And your bag is completed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed making the ultimate crochet mesh tote bag with me. And remember, it's a hot crochet summer, so keep crocheting all summer long. And I hope to see you again next time, only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Bye!